move on to the next presentation, which is our headline sponsor, Pulsant. Antonio and Dan from Pulsant are coming up. Hi, guys. Thank you to present on the Road Pulsant Edge Fabric.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. My name is Antonio Cuadrado. I'm the network architect at Pulsant. I'm accompanied today by my colleague, Dan Blackwell, that is our network product manager. Forgot this. Okay. For those who don't know about Pulsant, we own 12 data centers in the UK. They are owned and managed by ourselves. They are divided into 3 areas, mainly Scotland, North England, and South England. You can see them there on the diagram is the blue dots. So in Scotland, we have 3 data centers in the Edinburgh area. One of them is South Gyle, where LINX is present. South Gyle is Scotland's most connected data center with a lot of carriers. The other 2 data centers in Edinburgh are a little bit more smaller, and our customers are using them potentially mainly for disaster recovery or second sites. On the north of England, we have 4 more data centers. We have 2 in Newcastle area. In Newcastle, we have 1 in the city center, another 1 in North Shields, that is like 7 miles away from the city center. Then on the west, we have Manchester. That is, again, a location where LINX is present, on the Manchester LINX. This is a data center we bought from M247 back in 2022. And then on the west, Manchester is located in the Trafford Park, very close to the Northern Tech Hub. Then we have as well a Rotherham data center. It's a smaller data center, very close to Sheffield and Leeds. Then in the south, we have 5 data centers. We have Milton Keynes, we have Maidenhead. Actually, if you go on your M4, going towards on the M4 motorway towards Reading, you can see Pulsant logo on the right-hand side. And then we also have 2 data centers in Reading, Reading East and Reading South. This last data center we bought back in 2022 from a company called Amito, and that's very close to the Majestic Stadium. And then the last data center in the south is Croydon, south of London. That's around 20 miles from the city center, depending on the traffic on the trains. But it's a good alternative for our customers for data centers in the city of London. Okay. So I talked already about LINX presence in our data centers. I talked about South Gyle and Manchester. What about Telehouse? In Telehouse, obviously, it's not owned by us, but we do have a lot of racks that we rent to customers. We provide full racks, half racks, and quarter of racks. That I believe one of the few companies in Telehouse that provide that to customers. Okay. Now, enough of colocation. We're not talking about colocation in this presentation. We're talking about connectivity. The important thing for us is to be able to provide connectivity to all our customers connecting our data centers. And that's where all the data centers are connected to the Pulsant national network. Okay? It's a network built resiliently with multiple routes north to south, from north to south to the country. Okay? One last thing that was official last Friday, we bought 2 new data centers from SEC. They are Birmingham and Farnham. That shows the appetite of Pulsant to grow and obviously get more market rate on that area. Okay, let's go a little bit down memory lane. So like LINX, Pulsant just turned 30 years old recently. Okay. This slide will become apparent later on, but it shows the names of Pulsant along its life, and it also shows the number of companies that we bought. Okay, so Pulsant had an appetite of buying companies, but there was little effort to integrate the networks. That is the network in 2020. Okay, so back in 2020, we have 3 networks. Back then, there was only 10 data centers. 10 data centers and 3 POPs, Intel House, Equinix LD5, and Equinix LD8. So 10 data centers, 3 networks. Okay? Let me see if you can see. Yeah. Okay, so the blue line, let me see from here. So the blue line is Pulsant network, or it was Pulsant network. That was AS12703. The yellow line used to be Dedi Power network, AS24931. And the green line was Onyx network, 6067. Okay? 3 different networks. As you can see, each network has different data centers. Not only that, we have, I believe, if memory serves me well, the only data center or the only location that was shared between all the networks was Telhouse back then. There was another Ethernet network built with extreme switches that I prefer not to talk about. But yeah, basically, we had 3 networks, totally independent. 3 networks means 3 internet connections. Okay, so I'm counting over there 8 transit connections. All right? Then, as you can imagine, you have 3 internet connections, 3 sets of internet connections, 3 different networks. Renumbering for customers was a challenge. When you have a customer that was moving from one data center to another data center, if they were not on the same network, we couldn't do it. If we have a customer that wanted to have a disaster recovery site that wasn't on the same network, again, we couldn't do it. Basically, very, very challenging. And on top of that, the different services, the services for every single network was totally different. For instance, the Onyx network, the green one, was able to provide MPLS VPN solutions because Onyx, the company that we bought that network from, was a managed service provider. But the yellow line, that is Dedi Power network, was only providing internet access because that network or that company used to do only colocation. Okay? So, as I said, 3 networks, different data centers per network, different services per network. And then let's not talk about the telco providers. Obviously, we had a shared amount of telco providers between the 3 networks, difficult to manage. Some of those telco providers providing us connectivity that we couldn't upgrade. For instance, that green line was based on a VPLS solution that the provider didn't want to upgrade. So that became a challenge for us. We also had some dark fiber and an optical network down in the south. That came from one of the acquisitions. I don't remember which one. But we had that service, but again, it wasn't available everywhere. As you can imagine, very huge overhead from an operational point of view. Very challenging to be able to provide a customer solution that wanted to have connectivity between different data centers in different areas, in different networks. So that was bad, to be honest. I have to say that it's not the worst network I've seen, to be honest. Then, if we talk about the DC networks, meaning the network within the data center, the network that we were using to connect customers, again, there was no, it wasn't consistent. We have different topologies, we have different vendors. One of them had a Juniper virtual chassis network spanning a lot of the data halls. Another one had a typical core distribution access topology. Some data centers had Cisco only, some other data centers Juniper only, some data centers both of them. So it was very difficult to manage. So what did we do? So what we tried to do was solve this issue, and that's where the what we call back then the Pulsant National Network project was created. The main objective of this project was to be able to interconnect all the data centers belonging to Pulsant under one network. A network that is highly available, with high capacity and low latency, spanning all our data centers. So to get this, we went through an RFP process, and we chose Seyo as our optical and fiber network provider. The reason why we chose one supplier is because we were able to build a strong partnership with them. They are very transparent with the fiber routes. We know 100% sure how our circuits are being routed across the network, and they manage the capacity for us, right? So if the particular data center is running out of capacity, they will proactively update that data center for us. So Seyo deliver resilient connectivity in all of our data centers. And by using Seyo, we can also leverage the network to provide customer connectivity. So it's not only for the core, it's also for customers. Now we can provide optical services for our customers when they are located in our data centers. Okay? Actually, our optical product is a result of the Seyo optical product, right? So we can provide optical services between our data centers, but not only between our data centers, also to third-party data centers. Any data center where Seyo is present. So either national or international. So that gives us a very good proposition for some customers that require connectivity outside of our network. Now, from an IP point of view, we decided just to stick with one ACN, obviously. In this case, we decided to use 12703, only because it was the easiest to migrate to, right? I'd rather use 6067 because it was a smaller number, but 12703 was the easiest to migrate to. So the main links between all these data centers are 100 gig, but they are easily upgradable to 400 gig using Seyo infrastructure. So the diagram is a very, very high-level view of how all the data centers are connected to each other. Telehouse is showing there as an arrow. We don't tend to put telehouse because it's not one of our data centers, but obviously telehouse is part of our core infrastructure. So all those links are basically what the national network, Pulsant national network is. Obviously, the more detailed topology of the network, we had to sit down with Seyo engineers to be able to obviously map their fiber network with our data centers and work out the different topologies within the network. Now, the Pulsant national network project was divided into two phases, mainly. The first phase was when we selected a handful of data centers that we thought they were important, and we worked with Seyo to provide connectivity to those data centers. Okay, just to make sure that we have the new circuits over there. We are able to decommission the old telco providers, and we can do the hardware refresh on most of the data centers. As you can imagine, if we have 3 networks, but then it means that the hardware was not very was a little bit obsolete. So we also upgraded the core network devices at the same time. In parallel to that, obviously we had to consolidate all the internet connections, right? So what we decided to do is we move AS6067 and 24981 at the back of 12703. We decommission all those transit connections that we had over there, and we consolidate everything into a couple of 100 gig transit connections. And then obviously that bring the possibility for us to start migrating the different data centers into that AS2703. That was actually the second phase of the project. It was all the data centers, the ones that pretty much were not on 12703. We moved them into the new network, again, replace those core links with the new Seyo waves, and obviously replace the hardware and change the configuration. Obviously, this is not on 12703, so we had to do more work to adapt the configuration on them. Issues on this project. So the main issue was DAX ownership and wayleave. So SEO was not present in all our data centers, so they had to do some digging. And when they need to do some digging, we are at the expense of landowners and solicitors. So that sometimes took a little bit longer than was expected, obviously outside of our control, but that's the way it is. The other issue that we had was adoption of the templates. So we'll make sure that not only have a single network, we also make sure that the new templates for the core network was the same everywhere, and we can move forward from a support point of view. So once we finish with the core network, we started looking at the edge. And when I'm saying the edge, I'm talking about the data center network that I mentioned before, that network that was on those data centers to connect customers. And that's where the Edge Fabric project started. So what we wanted was a unified architecture that we could deploy in all our data centers, following a well-known industry standard, and it was easy to scale. And for us, the solution was an IP fabric using spine and leaf topology. So we were very keen on the IP fabric because of all the issues we had with spanning tree that we had in the past. Because all our data centers, they have very different topologies. So we found IP fabrics very easy to scale. So for instance, if we have one of the data centers, so some of the data centers have one building with one data hall. Some of the data centers have different buildings with different data halls. So the IP fabric design is very scalable because allow us to have one or a set of blueprint topologies that we can adapt to whatever data center is required. So on a spine and leaf design, in case you guys don't know, the customers connect to the leaf switches, right? So if we need to open a new data hall in a data center, the only thing we need to know is how many customers we need to serve. We just plant there the leaf switches, and then the rest of the network we don't need to modify at all. So that is a very appealing design aspect for us in terms of the design of this type of architecture. Obviously, there are all the features that IP fabrics that obvious to mention about being able to use different links at the same time. So that was also important. In terms of capacity, all our IP fabrics are 100 gig. We are using 3-to-1 oversubscription, although it's easy for us to move to 2-to-1 oversubscription. And in terms of technology, we use EVPN VXLAN, right? So we're replacing VLANs with VXLAN VNIs. We encapsulate all the traffic on VXLAN tunnels, and we use EVPN to lend the MAC addresses for customers. Most of our traffic is north to south. So we adopted a centralized routing and bridging topology. This means that there is a couple of special leaf switches that perform that layer 3 VXLAN gateway, in addition to the data center gateway between the IP fabric and the rest of the core network. Layer 2 services are end-to-end VXLAN. And if we add the addition of the EVPN, we provide ELAN services natively to customers when we offer them layer 2 services. In terms of layer 3 or IPVPN, I should say, IPVPN services, we stick with layer 3 VPN. We didn't go with a type 5 EVPN. We didn't think it was mature enough. So we decided to stay with IPVPNs. You can see from the diagram that all the data centers are built pretty much the same. Okay, so you can see obviously the circle in the middle represents the core network, and then the different circles around represents the IP fabric in each single data center. It's very repetitive. It doesn't matter where the customer is connected to. we just deliver the services in the same way. The only data center or location that is not there is Telehouse. So Telehouse is also part of the Edge Fabric. Okay, again, it's not part of it's not one of our data centers, but we also extended Edge Fabric into Telehouse. So all these allow us to consolidate all our connectivity services. Okay. So not only we streamline the number of services, but allow us to standardize the delivery process across the network. I mean, as I said at the beginning, before we had a lot of data centers, different topologies, different hardware. Now all the data centers are built the same way. So that is a huge advantage for us. And like any connectivity presentation, I need to talk about automation. So our road to automation, or our aim, is to be able to to provide customers with a self-service capability, right? So customers go to our portal and get that capabilities. I have to be honest, we still on that road. We are working with different tools. I put there a diagram with the different tools that we're using: Netbox, Morpheus, Jenkins, Ansible, the usual ones that you guys know about. So it's something that we're working on, still a little far, but I believe that's where everybody is trying to aim at the moment. In terms of Edge Fabric connectivity or Edge Fabric connection in our data centers, we always provide 2 connections to customers. That is basically 2 cross-connects, physical cables that go into 2 different paths across the data center, and they terminate into 2 different leaf switches. That obviously brings some advantage from an operational point of view, because we are able to do software upgrades easily without affecting customer, and also for the customer, by default, they get resiliency on all the services that they get from us. In terms of issues that we had on this Pulsant Edge fabric, so obviously Pulsant Edge, it was a greenfield deployment, right? So at some point we had the new IP fabrics and the legacy infrastructure side to side. So the main issue here was the migration of those services from the legacy infrastructure to the new infrastructure. Okay, so that was challenging because there was a lot of legacy stuff, a lot of workarounds that we had to do back then that we need to untackle and try to move them in an easy way to support into Edge Fabric. Same thing with the customer solutions. Again, very legacy solutions that they've been designed quite a long time. So that's another thing that it's been a challenging for us. And cabling, again, a lot of cables have been very old in our data center, and we had to replace them and go with new cabling altogether. Okay, Dan, it's you.
Thank you, Antonio. It's your turn to stand there like a lemon now. So, I don't know where to start now. So as Antonio said, and as you've seen, we've been through a lot of changes over the years, for acquisition. But if we take acquisitions out of that and those changes, we've probably been through the biggest changes in the last 3 to 4 years with the development of this network. And as we've moved away from a managed service provider to an infrastructure provider, we've been building the infrastructure to support that, not just our network, but we've also built a new cloud platform, everything to support this. It's key to us that we have this network. We want to enable clients to be able to connect racks, locations, regions, platforms, and clouds together, so they can be able to utilize our network to connect all of these different things together. We also want them to be able to connect to the internet resiliently. We have geographically diverse transit links, as Antonio's demonstrated, but also we're connected to 4 LINX POPs, which obviously takes account to a lot of that resiliency around that. And as we've designed the network, or mostly as Antonio's designed the network, and I've asked him if we can do things, and he said no. We built the network with our customers in mind and our partners. The key here is about interconnectivity. It is about being able to connect these services together, because no organization, no platform, no software, nothing is built in silo. Everything has to interconnect with other services to be able to enable them, to be able to build them. And that is our key here. It's about being able to connect people to the things that they require and the things that they need. We have many partners who are already connected to the network, and many more that we wish to look for. And dare I say a buzzword, we want to build an ecosystem. And what we are doing is working towards that now. And when we look at the things that we want to enable our customers to do and those business outcomes that we want to enable them to achieve, availability is one of those outcomes that we want them to achieve. And as Antonio says, we have built a diverse and resilient network that enables clients to be able to plug into that 2 ports, plug in, and they know that they're on a network which is already diverse and resilient across the UK from north to south. Because one thing Antonio didn't mention, or he alluded to slightly, was before we built this network, before we standardized on this network, it was probably easier to put data on a thumb drive and drive it from Edinburgh down to London than it was to try and send it across 3 networks. So we have really designed our network to help our customers achieve that diversity and that resiliency, but also, again, connecting them to people who will help them and help us achieve that for our clients. And if we look at examples of this and where we've done it before, is our partnership with Megaport. So we have 3 geographically separated POPs with Megaport, north, middle, south, and we've enabled customers to connect diversely to different POPs, to enable them to have diverse connections into their cloud platform, to enable them to achieve their multi-cloud priorities, or sometimes it's their repatriation and they leave a little bit over there. But we've enabled them to have that connection resiliently into those services. And that's what's key for us, is about enabling clients and about giving them the functionality to be able to build their organization, knowing that they can come to us, they can use our data centers, they can use our infrastructure, they can use our cloud, but they can interconnect all of that easily with a pre-built fabric between all of those locations, and also connecting with our partners to be able to enable that and extend that connectivity into all 4 corners of the UK, although I'm probably sure there's more than 4, but you know what I mean. But when we talk about partnerships, considering we're at LINX event, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about our partnership with LINX and how this has evolved over the years. We've been working with LINX for many, many years. The South Gyle data center was the birthplace of LINX Scotland, and we've worked together since then and grown that into, as Antonio says, the most connected data center in Scotland. Through our acquisition of the M24/7 data center, we acquired that, and obviously we took on that responsibility for LINX in LINX Manchester. So we started to grow, our relationship started to grow with them. But not only that, as Antonio said, we're through our partnership with Telehouse. And Telehouse is the only third-party data center that we have on our fabric at the moment. We are able to connect to LON 1 and LON 2. So we've got 4 of the 5 UK LINX locations connected to our infrastructure. This means that any customer connected or in any one of our locations connected to the Edge fabric can take advantage of any one or all 4 of these LINX locations. So even if they're not in that data center, we can connect them to LINX, and they can take advantage of that. So that could be from our Newcastle data center, it could be from our Reading, it could be from our Rotherham data center. They have that capability. But when we drill into that a little bit further, our network is UK-owned, dedicated, and sovereign, connected to 4 UK sovereign internet exchanges. And in a world where global policies are constantly changing and we're reading negative and bad news every day about what's going on in the world, sovereignty is becoming a top question and a top priority for our clients. So enable them to have that resilient, available, sovereign connectivity and enabling them to use that sovereignty that LINX provide them is becoming a strong advantage that we can enable those clients. But as Antonio said, this is not the end of our journey. This isn't even the middle. We've acquired 2 new data centers. We will be acquiring more, I suspect, although that's not official news because I don't know. But we've definitely got 2 more. We will be connecting to the fabric. We will be connecting to the network. And we will be extending that reach for clients to take advantage of all of that capability. And obviously, our relationship with LINX will grow as we grow. That's pretty much it from myself. I didn't make Antonio stand there as a lemon for as long as I did. I could carry on going. But that's pretty much it from myself. So any questions from anyone? Hopefully that was interesting.
You did get some nods there.
I did get some nods, yeah.
Oh.
Hey guys, great presentation. Thank you for sharing. I had one question for you. So your partner, your fiber partner, how do you know that they're not going to reroute fiber routes? Because when you kind of separate the physical from the logical, you'd be amazed how many fiber resplices happen without you even being aware of it. And I just wondered if you put any thought into that, given that you've focused on one fiber partner to connect the network. And it's a trick question because there's not an easy answer. Having been asked the question many times myself.
Coming from you, I guess it's a question that you got. Obviously, it's a partnership, right? So you need to trust your partner, right? We are very open with them in that sense. They are very proactive on telling us where there are bottlenecks. For instance, we bought this new data center, and they told us straight away, we are going to have a problem if we lead that data center here, and they proactively enable new infrastructure for us on that. So it's just a trust at the end of the day. Don't know, your customers trust you, you need to trust your partners. I mean, having another provider, you potentially have the problem twice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the right answer.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Anything online? No. Okay, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.